I just posted a video today, right, of this pattern I see for women, right? They're not able to drop into the present moment because they're constantly monitoring. And
Mm,
whether they're monitoring how they are with that one person, it's an extra thing if you have a history of stalking and harassment and you're hyper vigilant looking out. You can't. Like it's almost like you don't have the availability, you don't have the bandwidth to look in and focus on yourself sometimes for pleasure. You're
yeah.
focused on your safety,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Also, like I
Um,
have sexual trauma, so it's
mhm.
like, that also doesn't help. So
Yeah,
it's like, it's a conglomeration of things and it's
right.
just I can only do so much.
100%. This one free class is just a doorway to what's available to you, you know? And I know there are just so many things out there that we can do for ourselves. And I love therapy. I think it has its place. And somatics has its place, right? Bridging the gap between the two, especially being led in something as historically so stigmatized and so sexualized, so taboo. And when we were working with this particular part of our body, there's a lot to uncover, right? Like your own personal history being one of those things. And not to make this sound like a super grand, crazy like experience or offer, but that's what kind of makes vaginal alchemy, as I segue over here to talk about this a little bit. It's like I had a really hard time explaining what it was that happened inside this container for a lot of women because it was so varied. Why is it so varied when the one thing that we're doing on a consistent basis is pelvic mapping, essentially, and exploring our own tissues and working and being with our tissues? And that's like such a scientific way to say that. And I actually hate it as it's coming out of my own mouth. It's like that's a sciencey way to put it, to like kind of like meet your brain where it's at maybe. But when we're exploring our own bodies for sensation, for range, for just like tickling our curiosity, but also to like investigate, there's a lot that can get uncovered, right? For me, when I did this work, I uncovered a lot of generational stuff. I uncovered my own birth story and how, oh, like my mom had a fear of me, like, you know, and then processing my own self acceptance. And underneath all the vaginal alchemy work is there's a layer at the very bottom of my core mission to have women meet themselves and accept themselves fully wherever they are at and continually as they change and become the woman that they want to be. Because that is scary shit, actually. when you, because, right, a woman who is so tapped into her pleasure, her desires, her wants, her own confidence, she's actually dangerous, right? Like she makes waves in her own world, but maybe in her greater mission as well to the extreme outer world. But none of those, like, it's not like that's a big thing and that's a small thing. It's like if you can experience an orgasm, like one of the women who was in vaginal alchemy the first round, she thought she was broken. She could only orgasm one way with her partner, missionary, with a vibrator. And after we worked together, she was able to experience orgasms in multiple ways. And that was life changing for her. Like, because how could it not be? When you have an orgasm, those hormones actually change your brain chemistry. The oxytocin is unreal. The love you feel sometimes is unreal, right? I mean, there are other women who've been through it who end up finding so much joy within themselves, they end up getting pregnant because they're so joyful. So be careful. You know, there are crazy things that happen. I feel like because of this work that I did, again, I looked at this relationship I had with um my mom, but my mom's also a survivor of war. She's a refugee, so there's generational trauma there. I didn't personally experience it, but do I know that I live with that in my DNA? 100%. Was there a change in our relationship after I started doing this work? 1000%. I think when we start to integrate our life story with this life's body that you have, you become a more powerful, potent version of you. And it can start with the surface aspect, maybe of, yeah, I want to feel connected to myself. I want to feel at home to myself, but that is not surface level. That is some deep work. And I think for most of us, it takes more than one session. It takes even more than, I don't know, for some people, a year or two of talk therapy, but it can be so transformative once you just start touching your own body. And when you are doing this in a group of women who, like I said before, care about this stuff as much as you do, you care about your own pleasure, care about your access to it on a day to day basis, where you don't live your life scared, you live your life brave and full of yourself, your joy, your aliveness. Like, that's incredible. What an incredible gift. I I started vaginal alchemy a couple of years ago, a few years ago. I ran a few different rounds, and what I've noticed actually over time was like I ran it for 5 weeks. It was a weekly call, and the woman inside definitely had like massive changes, right? Like I said before, some like took a break from their vibrator, ended up breaking up with their partner, ended up finding a different partner, stopped faking her orgasms, and actually created this genuine, authentic partnership with her new man and moved in with him and is living the lovely partnered life right now. But what I realized was that 5 weeks is like an intensive, which can be great for some people. But what I think feels best for most women and our nervous systems, and even for myself right now in this life stage I'm at, I want more depth. I want the depth without the intensity. And I think um, that happens when we space some of this stuff out and we give ourselves time to integrate. So know that this one session is potent in and of itself for sure, but it's again just a doorway. Vaginal alchemy is technically a 12-week long experience that I want to invite you into so that we can continue this work and deepen our connection to ourselves and have it really, well, lack of a better word, but I think this is the best word, bleed into the rest of your life. One of the first things I think we were taught to feel shame about was like our menstrual cycle. No? And then what did we do? We quieted it with birth control. It's okay. It's a lot of women's stories. So part of vaginal alchemy is even embodying that aspect of us as women, right? Cycling through each phase knowingly, like Samira, knowing we're in our luteal, knowing we are ovulating and we can take full advantage, and knowing that we're bleeding and oh my God, we're psychic during our bleed. Like it's incredible, right? So then to have 3 months together to really experience this reclamation of our bodies from the cycle first, and then from our pussy yoni energy and our pleasure and finding expansion with ourselves, but then if you have a partner with a partner, it's magical. And like I said, with sisters, having the consistency of the women that you are growing with is it's irreplaceable. Like, have you guys done group work before? No? Okay. Yeah, Melanie has. Okay. It's it's amazing when you are feeling maybe like a freshman in college, you join a sorority, maybe you don't join a sorority, but whether you did or not, you feel kind of like a noob, right? But the energy is so alive, electric. You are feeling like such a grown up. You step on campus and you're like, whoa, there's a different level of responsibility, but also potential for so much fun and friendship. And it's like that. It feels like that. And guess what? The seniors, even though they're like not ahead of you by any means, the people who are also in this work and care about it, and maybe they've experienced some things that you haven't. Maybe they've experienced some things that I haven't. Maybe I've experienced some things that you haven't. There's like a vortex, hurricane, tornado shift of energy that gets brought up when women are around other women who talk about this stuff. It's the same thing, like talking about pleasure gap, talking about wage gap. How do we close the wage gap? We start talking about the money that we earn. We start talking about the pleasure that we experience. We start talking about the orgasm that we had this day in this position with this person or by ourselves. We start lifting each other up and calling each other forward. Because can we do this alone? Yes, sure. It may take you a long time, like it did for me. 9 years of orgasmless sex. What? I don't want that for you. And it's again not just about the orgasms, but I wish I didn't have to go alone through my shame alchemization journey. And I didn't, but I did piece a lot of this stuff together by myself. It felt like a long, lonely journey. Um, but that's why I created this experience for women so that they don't have to go through it alone. And there's so much that we can learn from each other. I think every woman has like such an incredible story, just as you guys all just shared. Such a different perspective, different life experience. And I guarantee that the pleasure and it's like I can't get enough of that word pleasure and desires that you have, like, oh my God, you're going to spring up and come up with something fucking incredible to bring to life through this work. And if you're not already aware, this is what we tap into in vaginal alchemy, but like your sacral energy is your creative life force energy. So, what do you want to create in this life? Do you want to create an actual human life? Do you want to create a project that you've been like, there's a burning desire, and for whatever reason, it's been stuffed down and you actually don't want to do it? Like, you want to write a book, you want to start a business, you want to start this whole other band. Tell me. Like, I want to know and I want to help you bring it to life through the alchemization of whatever it is that feels stuck within you. What did your roadblock look like? How do we burn that shit to the ground? You do that through this vaginal alchemy work. And it doesn't, this is so funny. Let me just tell you, as soon as you say yes, things in your life will start to change. You don't even have to do the internal wand work for this stuff to take over, not take over your life, but for it to shape your life. Right? Just as Samira said, like, oh my God, my womb, I've never put my hand on my womb. And my body instantly tapped into parasympathetic with that little vagal nerve gurgle, right? That's that's the titration right there. That's a titrated vaginal alchemy move. Hand over the womb, hand over the heart. Okay, let me just tell you a little bit more about vaginal alchemy. I'll actually drop it in the link for it in the chat if you want to check it out. I really, let's see, we do have our second call But the first call was with one of my alumni. So it's not like you missed anything if you decide to join today, tomorrow, or by Wednesday, which will be our next call. But I'm so excited for this next call. And if you do decide that you want to join this journey, join on this path, um, by tomorrow night, I will give you a one on one call with me for 30 minutes that you can use at any point within our 12-week container so that we can really make this group experience feel actually a little more personal to you. And if you've, yeah, again, like never been through group stuff, sometimes it can feel a little overwhelming. Everyone kind of starts at a different place, maybe. So sometimes having the one on one is really, really amazing. And if you decide to join also by tomorrow, I will buy you your next pelvic wand. So even if you already have a wand, or maybe you've been thinking about it. Have you guys been seeing my reels of me using my wand as my microphone? That's like my purple cow. Um, you can pick whatever wand you want. I will give you my suggestions if you want my suggestion on what to use for vaginal alchemy, but I will get it for you if you decide to sign up by tomorrow. I'll send you a reminder. And do you guys need to know? Do you guys know about this already by any chance? Do you guys want more details on what this actual container looks like? Yeah. Okay. So every other Wednesday for the next 10 weeks, we will be meeting and I'll be taking you through a similar exploration like this. But once you sign up for the live cohort, you get access to all now 6 modules within vaginal alchemy, which includes the um, awakening, the reclamation for your pelvic space, for your menstrual cycle. I walk you through how to cycle sync. I walk you through how to de armor and find a level of devotion to yourself that works for you. So if you've ever heard of de-armoring, especially if you've been in like the pelvic health space, you have a pelvic wand maybe already, you've heard of just pelvic massage. Well, de-armoring is a totally different level. At least to me, the way I like to think about it is we do have these shields that are up, right? Sometimes, and they can come off and on. But when we actually work with our body and go at that pace that we talked about, and we start to access beyond those pelvic floor layers and even all the way up into the cervix. The cervix is what's so connected to our heart space. And when we actually start to tap into that, we start to awaken things that we know maybe mentally were there, but we had no body knowing or GNO know it, gnosis. If you ever heard of gnosis, we don't have that knowing yet until we actually touch it and access it. Um, we talk about the like ovarian and womb energies, and there is a level of vaginal alchemy in there, like I just mentioned before, where there's like an alchemization for the generational shit that may come up. um, and I think it's an important layer. I don't always like address it out in the wide internet universe, but it is a potent piece inside vaginal alchemy because it generally will come up. And then last but not least, it's the practice of embodying the vaginal alchemist. So when we actually tie a lot of these different aspects together, the hands, the actual body ourselves, right? The breath, sound, a little bit more movement than maybe you're used to, and a pelvic wand tool. I talk you through and work you through all of these through guided sessions. And they're not long, they're anywhere between 10 to 25, 30-minute sessions. And then when we're live together, they're 90-minute calls. They start often like this, where we're just connecting. I want to hear what's alive for you. I'll have something planned that I want to share with you, maybe a new exercise that will add on to this vault of practices that you could always come back to. But again, like I said, with the hand on the womb and hand on the heart, that's like a titrated thing. Finding a level of devotion to your pleasure is going to look different in different seasons of life. So, what's so fun about this is 12 weeks, you're going to have essentially 12 weeks like of knowing that you're devoting yourself to your pleasure and putting your everything where your mouth is, where your south mouth is. You're valuing it and prioritizing it. And that speaks volumes already, right? When you say yes to that. What else did I want to say? There's a pay in full and there's also a payment plan. Those are all on the website. It's $2,000 for pay in full and it's broken down into three payments of $697, I believe. If you need a different payment plan, let me know. If it helps to break that down, I just kind of picked that number because I felt like, oh, it's a 3-month program. We can spread it over 3 months. But if that doesn't work for you and your finances, please use your voice. This is part of the vaginal alchemy. Let me know what you want, girl. Okay. I'm flexible on that. And yeah, our next call is on Wednesday. So I'd love to see your faces in there. I'd love to know if you have any other questions that I can answer on the spot while I have you. I know we're over time, but James is making dinner and I don't think it's ready. So I'm good to go if you have questions that you want to chat about. Anything feel alive?
How often do you do these?
How often do I do the whole cohort?
Yeah. Yeah.
I do them usually twice a year, once in the
Okay.
spring and then once in the fall. There is a self paced version and it's just as good. However, I love the live. I think the live is excellent. That's a good question, Melanie. Yeah. Just because, yeah, it's like I'd love for you to join now if you have the capacity. And will saying yes to this automatically start to gently stretch your capacity in the most beautiful way? 100%. But if you want to wait until the fall, I totally get it. Anyone else? Questions? All right. Well, I will be sending you reminders about this bonus, these two bonuses technically, that one-on-one call with me and the wand. I've never done that before, and I don't know if I'll do it again, but you guys tell me if that feels like, mm, I'm excited about that. Does that light you up from the inside out? Was this call supportive? Did this feel like this did this meet your expectations? Okay. You got some answers. Feel like the pleasure gap. I'm in the gap, but I know I could take some steps to reach the other side of the bridge. Okay, great. Melanie, did you have something to say?
Oh, I was gonna say for me right now, I'm just like I've done courses when I wasn't like in the mindset and like
Mm.
it's just I'm dealing with so much that that's why I asked because it's just too much and I don't want to do something that I'm not going to be able to focus.
To be fair, yeah, your situation is very different.
Yeah.
And I have had clients who, like one, for example, I'm thinking of, she seemed to have the most busy life. And like she was someone who was married, ran a business, owned a business, and had two toddlers. They were twins. She made time for this. And that's just spoke volumes, right? Like, oh, totally okay. Thank you for being here, Samira. We'll see ya. Um, she made time for this and it changed her life. Like I know she wouldn't mind me telling you this because she's been on the podcast and you can totally listen to her story if you want, but she was feeling so much pain from her birth. It was a pretty gnarly birth. And oh, bye Malia. Thanks for being here. Um yeah, she had a really gnarly birth and had like a lot of pelvic pain with sex and really wanted to. Her twins were already, I think, two at that point and hectic, right? Like they're now in daycare and just all the schedules and all the pickups. And obviously, she's dealing with a lot of clients too in her business and trying to navigate a relationship with her husband again, trying to get back into pleasurable sex. And this was what got her there.
Yeah.
Eh,
No, I totally get it.
Yeah,
I have there's other things I haven't talked about that are going on. It's
for
just,
sure.
yeah.
For sure. If it's not the right time, it's just not the
Yeah.
right time. Like,
Yeah.
I'm here. I now I'm here and you can
Yeah,
dive
I
into
was so
way more.
excited to find this. And I didn't know I know you're asking people, I didn't even know what to expect. I was just like, okay, just
Yeah.
go because I saw this on Saturday, I think.
Okay. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
It's so funny because social media is so hard for me on the weekends. Like I don't like to necessarily be on it during that time. Oh, dinner's here. Thank you. Look at us, guys. Oh my God.
oh wow, salmon and tabbouleh
Yeah, salmon,
and
tabbouleh,
potatoes
and not
and
potatoes,
hummus. Oh,
hummus and
oh, zucchini.
zucchini. Yes, nailed it.